Hey everyone, it is November 4th right now. So here's an update on my 2019 Laverne Manila Rootstock. So just so you guys know, you haven't seen this before, it's rootstocks that I got from Home Depot, which is labeled as Manila. Got these back in 2019. They went in the ground then. So it's been about 6 years in the ground. It probably was a year old when it was in the pot for the most part. So you could say probably like a 7-year-old rootstock maybe, at most. So these are the Laverne Manilas. It's the rootstocks it's more easily available. You can find them at Home Depot, and it's the one I would recommend most people to kind of start off with, versus anything you guys get from imported trees from Florida. These are much more hardy, much more vigorous, much more adaptable to our climates here in California. So these are how the trees look like right now. I've been kind of holding off. I've been getting fruits here and there, but I've been kind of holding off on really kind of spraying for the fruit set, but that might change this spring. So let's see, just kind of update. How was well, today's a pretty sunny day, but it's been pretty gloomy the last couple of days. But the last day or two, the sun's been peeking out about noon. But it's been pretty gloomy for the most part in the last week. So how was October? I would say October was pretty gloomy until we had this heat wave at the end of October, and it lasted for about a week. I had during that heat wave, most of the temps was around like mid 80s and higher, and I had even 2 days where it hit 90 here, which was very kind of unusual, at least this time of the year, right? I have some friends much nearer the coast where they were like kind of hitting mid 80s and high 80s, and that was kind of unusual for them, hitting mid 80s. Some friends that's more inland had hit like over 100 during that time with the heat wave. So that was kind of October, a little bit gloomy, and then this last heat wave that kind of really kind of pushed some vegetation and some buddings to kind of flush too, especially the ones that were kind of going along but didn't do anything, right? So that last heat wave then really gave it a nice push along with vegetation. So that was October. I am in November now, and for November I just sprayed copper sulfur the last couple days. I think we expect some rain next week, and then I'm going to spray again some more copper and sulfur. I'm doing that just kind of prevent some diseases, and if there's any kind of buildup of diseases during this winter, kind of help with not having too much issues before we kind of really get into a wet and cold season. My plan is to spray this spring on a consistent schedule to kind of get fruit set on these trees. Now I feel like I like the size I set now. I like the height, so at least I would say at least 3 to 4 of the trees, there's 6 of these, at least 5 of these I would say I do intend to kind of spray for some consistent fruits, some crop, like a good crop. We'll see how that goes, but that's my plan for this year, for this upcoming spring. Okay, so it's been a little bit of an odd November so far. I had a few varieties in pots that seems to have bloomed recently, and I'm getting reports from friends that some of the stuff has bloomed, started to bloom. So most of mine hasn't gone into that yet, but I feel like maybe this year might be an early bloom happening in November, December. It just feels that way so far, just at least from reports from friends and stuff so far, but they're kind of in different areas. It feels like because of that, I might see some early blooming here in my area. So right now it's the afternoon sun kind of shifted a little bit, so it's kind of hitting the plants at like a little bit of a different angle. And during this time of the year, what happens during this time of the year, for some reason I get a little bit of yellowing on my leaves, and I'm not sure it's a combination of the kind of like the low sunset with the colder nights, but they start to end up kind of yellowing a little bit. I'm not too concerned about that because it kind of happens every, pre-winter, and then once spring comes back up, it just kind of, the green kind of perks right back up. So I don't really worry too much about that, but that does kind of happen in my yard prior to winter. I'm not sure if it's both the shift in the sun, or if it's that with the cooler nights that's causing it, but I do get it. And it's much more, you see much more on these trees that's in full sun versus anything that's in shade. Okay, so let's kind of take a look at everything. This might be a little bit of a long video, because I'm going to just document all the varieties on here. So when it does stop blooming, we'll see what blooms, right? So this right here is Dolores. Got a lot of recent inquiries about this, just because it's probably might be the Florida variety for next year that everybody might be looking to getting. At least in here, my area, my California, I would say this has been an okay grow, not too bad, not too great, but it has been disease prone. It's not a variety I would recommend for California, but I haven't had fruit set yet. Maybe once. I haven't had a taste of fruit yet, so I got a couple of fruits hanging on a few on a different graft, and I'll probably be able to kind of end up tasting those in the next month and see how good the flavor is. Maybe it ends up being worth growing because of how good it is. But if you haven't tasted the fruit, just kind of looking at the characteristic of the variety, the Dolores is disease prone, so I wouldn't recommend it for California. At least not in my area near more coastal, because it has shown itself to be a bit disease prone and unproductive, right? So that's Dolores. I have little gem back here, right here. I didn't get much vegetation off it this year. Here is Sunrise right here. Sunrise again. I grafted these off. This one, especially this one, I grafted all these varieties at the same time. I have never got a fruit set on Sunrise yet. With light spring, haven't got anything. No nubbins, no full-size fruit, nothing yet. So let's see. Here's super chili. There's super chili. That up there is sweet tart. And sweet tart is getting pretty large. I think it's 7 feet tall now, so it's a good size. I would like to set fruit, and the fruit kind of just hangs right there, but I'm kind of just picking it, so that'd be ideal for me. Okay, have a couple more recent grafts. Here's an M4. Here's a peach cobbler. Right. Okay, on to the next one. This one's always been my most largest tree, and with the largest trunk ever since I planted in the ground. It's always been the largest. So here's Maha Chinook. Look, it's budding. This almost looks like flower buds, or maybe a mix vegetation flowers on it. So Maha, I have I think what might be 3 different strains on here. This one right here, the one that have most of the canopy, is a Maha that I have that doesn't really have much aroma or fragrance to the fruits. Got another one right here. This one right here. This one has a much nicer aroma when the fruits is ripened, from my understanding. And here's another one right here that seems to be known for off-seasonal blooming. Not, just all these various kind of Maha strains out there. We'll see if they all end up being how similar they are. This is raw honey, Shawinta. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. So raw honey right here. Let's see. Okay. I always tend to forget which one this is. For some reason I always forget which one this is. I think it's a Century. There it goes. That's right. This one's Century right here. Good biggest grow. Here's another one, another variety here. This is Savita Lucknow, another vigorous grower. Those two have not bloomed for me in the last couple of years, so very kind of unusual since everything blooms. Here's Alfonso right here. Here's Alfonso. Brian's peach cobbler ceiling right there. Got the cow romit right here. See, this is Ram Chimea. Ram Chimea. Valkyrie right here. We have a golden queen right here. It's an M4 grass right here. This one's a variety called 2, used as a rootstock in Taiwan. I might end up grafting some of these branches here. I've had the fruit as a green fruit. It wasn't my favorite as a green fruit. I thought it lacked a bit of the crispness that I like from some of the green varieties. But I know this variety is used a lot in Taiwan as a rootstock and as a pickling meal. That right there is ambrosia. I've been kind of trimming it. This is the only one I've been really kind of trimming to maintain the height. But now I'm going to stop with that because I feel like some of the other varieties have kind of caught up to it in height. So I could kind of let this go now. Here's Juliet. Here's a variety called Diamond. Here's Pineapple Pleasure right here. Here's a Cambodian variety that's called Kiel Gao Chun. Supposed to be one of the best varieties from Cambodian. Let's see how it goes. It is a very slow grower, so I might have to end up taking some wood and getting this on a much more older rootstock to make sure I don't lose it. Okay. Alright, the next one. And here's the vegetation on it. I kind of cleaned out the vegetation about a month ago, but it's kind of gone a bit crazy again. The vegetation is definitely going to be cleaned up again this month because getting into winter, I like to kind of keep all the trunks and surrounding area free of vegetation. While during summer, I don't mind the vegetation kind of covering and covering the trunk and stuff, giving a bit more, more canopy during the hot days and summer and stuff like that. But right now, as we get into winter, trying to keep any kind of fungal pressure away, and that means kind of keeping everything clear. Any kind of humidity, moisture buildup, kind of keep it clear. So that's gonna be done in this next month to kind of clean up a lot of these, especially these sweet potato vines. They look fine now, but in just a month from now, they're gonna look really horrible once the night gets colder and the day gets colder. Okay. So on this, I got a few. I have one fruit hanging. I think I'm gonna pick this after the video because I'm seeing a little bit of color. It's a small fruit, not a full-size fruit. I meant it should be a bigger size fruit, but this is Sassy Love. So I'm gonna pick this and see how it goes. Let me try to show you a late bloom. This was a bloom that kind of happened towards and it's like towards summer, midsummer, end of summer. I don't know if you guys get to see it. It's way back there and I can't get to it right now just because of the vegetation and my potted trees, but hopefully by the next video get all this cleared up so I can come walk around the tree. But I finally got some fruits off of Nam Dak Mai Mun. There's about 3 decent sized fruit right now so far on it, but it bloomed like late summer, so it's not gonna be ripe or anything. But it's a variety I had for quite some time. It's been a bit problematic, like most of the Thai varieties for me. So we'll see. It's supposed to be better eating quality green versus the Nam Dak Mai number 4. Okay, so let's kind of get back on track a bit. Here's orange sherbet. I got a guava, Saint Talon right there. I'm going to have a review on a guava a little bit later, and we're going to discuss a bit if there's a difference between the variety guava and the variety Saint Talon, and that would be an interesting video. Here's Giselle right here. That's Giselle. got some sweet tart right here. So a batch of sweet tart. Malika, that's not doing really well. Tiny Jahangir graft. There's some Prim Sangmun there. And there's some N12 somewhere right there. And this is an Angie. This little Angie branch right here. You can see. Since I grafted, maybe I got 2 or 3 inches of vegetation. But in that, in that 2 years of having it, this batch, I probably got about 5 fruits off of this. So here's the entire graft of Angie. You can still see the green tape on it, right? You can still see the green tape on it. Got maybe 2 or 3 inches of vegetation this whole time, but 4 or 5 fruits. So pretty impressive in that regard. No growth, but production. Okay, we got some more maha right here. Oh, this right here. Maha right here. And maha looks like it's about to bloom. Vegetation or flowers, not too sure. Okay, let's keep on going. Here's my one tree where I haven't shown you guys much because it's been looking very horrible until this year. Finally, I'm getting some vegetation off of this. So here's a Tom pecan. Don't really know much about it. It's supposed to be Thai. It's a little gem. I had some other grass here that I don't think they're gonna make it. They're about to probably die off or fizzle out after being on here for like a couple years already. Like my EY's kind of died off. I think one of this is Super Julie. Not looking great, but I'm just not gonna be pruning this. I'm gonna just leave this alone because it took it a while back to kind of recover from all the horrible grafting job I did on this and everything. So now it's gonna just start growing. Just let it be. Okay. Next up, this is ST Maui. So ST Maui is a very vigorous grow. It's a little bit weepy though, but nonetheless still very vigorous. So I tend to prune this more often than not versus other varieties. This and Kaka tends to be the variety I tend to prune quite a bit. So ST Maui, amazing tasting fruit, great fruit. However, it is a bit unproductive, a bit disease prone, a bit unproductive. That's the only issue it has with it. But besides that, I mean, it grows well. The flavor on the fruit is amazing. We had a recent mango tasting with friends a month ago, and ST Maui kind of won it, right? It had the, everybody had that. A lot of people had that as the number one mango in the tasting. So ST Maui, definitely a good one. Here's a Sassy Love graft right here. Here's an experimental seedling graft. This is a lemon zest seedling with a very strong Alfonso aromatic leaf. So we'll see what happens to it. I'm guessing it might take it a couple of years to bloom, and we'll see. Here's a Thai variety called Falan, F-A-L-A-N. This is supposed to be a green eating variety, and out of the green eating varieties, this has seemed to have been growing pretty decently compared to some of the other ones I've had. It seems to have a bit of vigor in it. So Fallon, guys. Here's a lemon zest right here. Okay, let's go to the next tree. Okay guys, here's the next tree. I'm trying to remember what on earth I have on this, right? So this is Dupree Saigon right here. Dupree Saigon. I got some Calamit right here. Some lemon zest. Smaller graft over there. Here's a Bombay. So I got one fruit off of Bombay this year, and it was an amazing tasting fruit. It was great. Bombay, I mean, for me, even the seedlings I've grown out, it's supposed to be a very vigorous variety in Florida, but Over here, it just seems to be okay. I think it's might need a little bit more heat to kind of get it really going, right? Because I grown out maybe 3 or 4 seedlings. Same thing, they grew well, but they're not nowhere close to what I've heard description of Bombay is. And same thing with my graft of Bombay, nowhere near in vigor of the description of anything I've seen in Florida. So that's Bombay. Here's another Jin Huang, Cat Saigon right here. I got a couple of large fruits off of it this year. There's a few Egyptian varieties on back. Forgot the name of it, but we could cover that next time. Okay. And here is a mix of cac and Super Julie on top right here, and cac right there. Cac is very vigorous, and I prune a lot of this each year. So this is cac. I actually got a decent crop off of this. I probably got about 8 or 9 fruits off of this. Here's Super Julie. Had a cotton candy graft right here that eventually didn't make it. After about 3 years, it just kind of like, maybe 2 years, I'm not sure. 2 or 3 years, it kind of fizzled out and died. Okay, up next. There's a few small grafts on here, and most of it's not doing that great on here. This shaping of this tree has been totally lopsided. So I got Juliet right here, peach cobbler. I grafted some seedlings as an experiment, so we'll see what these seedlings end up producing. There's a few different ones. Let me see if I could get this recorded on video just for the sake. Here's a lemon zest seedling, non-clone. Here is a, I think I have it right here. Here's an M4 seedling, unknown if it's the clone or not. Here's another M4 seedling, also unknown as the clone or not. Came from the same seed, but different embryos. Here's a Kerry seedling, right here. So we'll see how that goes. I have, let's see, I have a Maha right here. That one is growing really well. Really thick chunk. I feel like next couple of years this Maha is probably going to just take off and take over most of this tree. This tree is very, very lopsided. One of my more worst multi-graft attempt. Very unbalanced. Okay, let's see. I have a gram here. I did have 1 gram fruit off of this. Gram seems to give me like a fruit or 2 every single year, but who knows how much longer this graft is going to make it. Hasn't been flushing that well, so we'll see. I feel like this graft is going to die. Fortunately, I have a few different places where I put gram at, grafted gram at, so I'm not too concerned, but I feel like this graft is going to unfortunately die. It just hasn't pushed any vegetation or strong vegetation recently. Here is Florigon. I finally got a Florigon fruit for the first time, and I'm gonna pick this after this video. Florigon, look, there's like a yellow blush already. I think it's good to go. Okay guys, well, I mean, that's a bit longer than you guys probably want to see, but that's an update on my 2019 Laverne Manila rootstocks. Thanks everyone, till next time.